All right, happy Monday, May 24th, 2021. We're going to continue this same focus, right? Imagination and riddle skills, that's really inferencing and learning how to figure things out, right? Great for any class if you learn to do this, to use your imagination and figure things out, you're going to do better. So that's important. For our close today, just how are you? How you doing? More like for attendance than anything else. Like I said, we do have a graded assignment for today. So it's not difficult. Nothing we do is difficult, especially if you have a great attitude. So apparently, the school has given us a deadline for work, and uh, and and it's different than mine. So I have to change mine to match what the school's is. So apparently tomorrow, I'm supposed to let you know if you're exempt or not. And I was going to let you know today. That's why I was like, turn everything in by Friday. I gave you a little slush time over the weekend. So if you're still not quite done, hey, you can still turn stuff in tonight. I'll still take it, and I'll run the report tomorrow. And that's final. You know, you're exempt or you're not exempt. You still have to have your attendance, so keep coming into class. But if you, I didn't have time to turn in that one last infographic, or I didn't turn in the reflection, you can turn it in today and get credit for it. And of course, the other test grades too, right? Those are the ones that can make or break you. You can do 10 daily grades. It won't raise your grade as high as doing one test grade. So be sure you take care of that tonight, especially if you know you don't have a lot of absences. You know, there's a good chance you could still be exempt. So don't throw it away. You're a good person. Suffer. Get it done. Credit protection. Those of us that failed the previous 9 weeks, failed the previous semester, all that work is due by this Friday. So it has to be done by this Friday so you can get credit back for previous 9 weeks. So message me if you have questions about that, and I'll be messaging you, probably emailing parents tonight about getting any work turned in so you can fix your previous semester. And before we do anything else, let's do our positive affirmations so we can be positive on purpose. All the many, many people in the classroom, come on, let's see that thumb up. What are you? I'm strong, confident, and successful. Let's grab that barbell. How do you feel about writing? I love writing. How do you feel about schoolwork? The harder I work, the stronger I become. And this was in the email that Mr. Weisler, the academic dean, sent us, that basically, once again, this is the school deadline for Warren. Whatever your deadlines are, we have to match with the school. So, yeah, like I said, credit protection all turned in by this Friday, the 27th, before midnight. And then after that, you didn't pass, you didn't pass. Exam exemptions. People have been asking me, hey, Mr. Carvajal, I think I have 4 absences or 5 absences. Can I do attendance recovery after school a couple of days and then I can still exempt the exam? Well, no, you can't. Once a student is over on absences, they cannot do attendance recovery or make up hours for the exemption. So if you're over, you lose that exam exemption. That's not my rule, that's the school's rule. So just keep that in mind. Don't be absent. Keep coming to class. Keep doing the discussion questions so you get counted present. And then, once again, that exemption status, tomorrow's the real deadline for that. I made it Friday, but the school says Tuesday, so get stuff in tonight. I will go through and grade one last time and then run the report on the 25th in the morning, tomorrow morning. So if you get stuff turned in tonight, you can still get yourself passing. Do the test grades. That's what you need. And you will probably be passing just from that. Oh, and little Carvajal comedy. We've all probably heard of I scream, you scream. We all scream for ice cream, right? Right? Well, look at this. Anybody want an asparagus truck coming around their neighborhood? And look what it says. See the asparagus. Yeah. I want asparagus. Mom, can I have asparagus? Right? I cuss, you cuss, we all cuss for asparagus. And it says failed marketing ploys. Yep, didn't make any money. I wonder why. So that's just dumb, but I love it. All right, so if we go into my main page, And remember, you can click right here and see our final exam schedule. This is it. You can look at it yourself if you want. So we have regular class until Thursday. This Friday, May 28th, you'll take your first period exam and your 8th period exam. And look at this crazy schedule. If you've been going to school here for a while, you know how it is for finals, right? You're going to go to 2nd period after the 1st period exam, and then you don't go to 3rd. No, you go to 7th. So 2nd period, 7th period, and then 4th, 5th, and 6th. Those are the lunches. So I don't know why they can't just have lunch at 11:25. That's silly. But oh well, they didn't ask me. So 1st period, 2nd period, 7th period, then 4th, 5th, 6th, and then 8th period final. If you don't have to be here for the final, you can just check in on the discussion, and you're done. You're done after 6th period on Friday. If you're exempting your 8th period exam. Tuesday, 2nd period, 3rd period, 4th. And we meet 5th, 6th, 7th period exam. So 2nd and 7th on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, that's our final. So I'm not going to see you after that. So Thursday, you'll do 4th period and 6th period. And depending on what classes you have, if you have like your lunch is 4th, you may only have to do 6 or vice versa, however it is. So notice Friday to Tuesday, right? There's no class on Monday. There's no class on Friday. Starting Friday, that's it, just finals. And if you're exempting, you still want to go in and do the discussion question for attendance, but then you're basically done. So it seems like a pretty sweet deal to me. So you have the Friday off, and then summer begins, and that's all we need to worry about. And here's the rules. Like I said, you have to be passing for the spring semester. You have to be passing right now. You can't have any conduct problems. If you got in trouble, you got written up or something that may affect you. But basically, just engage in the time of exam, and you should be exempt if you're passing, and you have a good enough attendance. So that's there if you want it. Okay, and let's go into today's work. Graded assignment, our last one. We'll have stuff to do, but it's going to be more discussion kind of stuff, not graded discussion or any kind of a Google Doc. Come on, internet. There you go. So we're going to read this speech, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. And if those of you that have been paying attention, you're going to be like, wait, I think we read this already. Yeah, we did. We're reading it again. It's a department level thing. We're all going to be doing it. So the question you have to answer is, in the context of the article, what does it take to succeed? And as we read it, it's going to be very obvious. And then the second part of the question, do you think that grit is a necessary trait in all forms of success? Why or why not? Cite evidence from the text. So to answer this question, what does it take to succeed? Is grit necessary? Why or why not? Evidence. There's basically 4 parts. Be sure you write a full paragraph, include one piece of evidence, and explain and give details. To get a passing score, you probably need to write about 4 lines, 5 lines, and of course more if you want better than a 70 or 70 something. And although this isn't just line length, this is based on content like the last one. So be sure you do quality work. Okay, so if you want to see your own copy, you can click there. I've got a copy open. Let's read through it together. But you know what? Let me stand up first. I'm sitting right now and whoops. All right, that's more like it. All right, if you're on your phone, if you're on Snapchat, put it aside, pay attention, because this is not difficult, but it becomes difficult if you're not paying attention. All right, Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Lee Duckworth, 2013. When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard, ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram, but these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee, and we tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies, asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals, right? That's why I ask you guys, what do you want to be 10 years from now? Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure. Things like family income, standardized achievement scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. Right? So they could be exactly alike in all of these, but what mattered was that idea of grittiness, not giving up. That was pretty interesting to me. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters. It's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. People laugh. I think I know though, right? Be positive on purpose. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to the measure of talent. So people are very talented, don't like to work very hard. You may have noticed that too. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called a growth mindset. This is an idea developed by Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is a belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit. We need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you. Applause. Okay, so once again, in the context of the article, what does it take to succeed? She said the word about 20 times in the writing, right? And then, do you think that grit is a necessary trait in all forms of success? Yes, I do. No, I don't. And here's why, right? Use those keywords. It takes blank to succeed, so forth. Why or why not? Be sure and explain yourself, get it done, turn it in. And that's what's going on for today. Late work, test grades, get them done. Other than that, have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions.